I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
When I first got to prison, on the general population yard, there was no snitches, no chomos, none of that. If they was, they was dealt with and they was off the yard. They couldn't be on the yard. Years later, as time changes, the attitude about snitches, more and more was on the yard, the same way with chomos, and people started extorting the chomos and stuff, but sometimes it seemed like they protected the snitches, you know. But anyway, that's not the point. It seems like people would try to get others to take care of them, and that's what I hated. A lot of people didn't like me because I wouldn't. If they wasn't bothering me, I wouldn't mess with them. I stayed clear of them, you know. And they'd say that guy's a snitch or something. Well, if you don't like it, go do something about it. Why are you telling me? You know, if you know for a fact he's a snitch, you're 100% sure, then go take care of it. Just don't tell me and saying he needs to get off the yard and stuff. Don't tell other people, and other people have said the same thing, man. Why are you telling me? You think he's a snitch or anything like that? You take care of it. But yet you're coming to us and telling us about it. By the time I left, there was snitches, more and more snitches and chomos on the yard. And there were some people that would say, there for a while, it didn't last very long, about a year or so, there was people saying, I didn't snitch, I didn't tell, I got down first. And what they meant was, they told on their partner or whatever, before their partner could tell on them. To me, when I first got to prison, there was a difference between, the old heads told me there's a difference between ratting and snitching. Ratting is when you rat your co-partner out. Snitching is what you do, you're in prison and you're telling on people. And there's people in prison that will tell on anything that you do wrong. And CO, he's breaking the rules, and it could be something very minor and they'll still tell. I told the story about this one that was in the wing and the caseworker came in and real loud said, one more snitch kite from you and you're going to the hole. Said, I've gotten 30 from you this month, and the month isn't even over yet. That's how bad it had gotten in Missouri, in certain prisons. Not all prisons, but some of them. Places like Farmington and there for a while there was certain housing units and Licking that was like that. But Licking's really messed up anyway, man. You know, it's so bad that they made a housing unit for those who won't stand up for themselves, who are snitches, who are chomos, and what we called in prison lames. They put them all in one housing unit and put all the, like, they have everybody categorized as alphas, kappas, and sigmas. Kappas can live with anybody. Alphas can live with alphas and kappas, and sigmas can live with kappas and other sigmas. But that's how bad it got. They made a whole housing unit for them. It's just, I don't see the point. You know, I can, although I didn't have a co-defendant, there's some people who came to prison and said that their co-defendant, they had a lot of time, and said the co-defendant fall partner told on them, ratted them out, so they could get a little bit less time, but yet they still end up doing a lot of time. That doesn't make sense to me. if you're still going to get like 30 years or whatever, 40, whatever, why, what's the point in ratting? Because you go to prison, you know you're going to have that jacket on you. People are going to find out sooner or later. And yet here, people doing it every day, man. And then some of them go to prison and end up telling on it. You look at them wrong, they'll tell on you. It's just ridiculous. It's a whole different world when I got out than when I went in. And although I said I never liked the MSP, you know, because of the violence, I will say this. There was no snitches on the yard, there was no chomos on the yard, and there was less petty rules. You know, that makes a big difference. If you ain't got all these petty rules, you can live more comfortable. But it seemed like the more rules they put down in the different prisons I got transferred to, the more the snitches were on the yard. Now, I did get into it with one time because he told on a partner of mine that was doing tattoos. And what pissed me off is he just got through doing a tattoo for him, and he was doing a tattoo for another guy, and he went out there and told. He said, man, the dude's in there doing tattoo. The guy came in there and they took all his stuff and handcuffed him, took him to the hole and everything. And so I snapped on the dude. They almost put me in the hole for threats, but they didn't. Caseworker talked him out of it. And I didn't lay my hands on the guy. I just told him he had to leave. This is all I said. You got to get out of this housing unit, man. That was one of my partners, man. And you told on him, you got to get out of the housing unit. And he went straight out into the Sally Port, told the CO. Next thing I know, I'm being called out there. They got him off to the side with a bunch of COs around him. And asked me if I threatened him. I said, I didn't threaten him. And they said, well, he said you did. And I said, no. I just told him he had to leave the housing unit. They said, that's a threat. And I said, it's however you want to take it. But they, I was out there for about a half an hour, maybe a little longer. He was out there for a while. They moved him to a different housing unit. They let me stay. I think he told them that, man, just move me to a different housing unit. And so they moved him to a different housing unit. But the snitching thing, it's gotten out of hand in these prisons. Anyway, I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.